Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Army Overlord, and welcome to the Bronze, Silver, Gold Competitive Series, Week 7, between All One Lane and TSST, aka the DTS. Going into this matchup here, All One Lane is looking for a very crucial win as they've been knocked out of the playoffs, and DTS is still in it. They can really go for a tie. They can really go for a leading 2 wins. We'll certainly find out which one's going to happen for sure. Bans coming in really quickly. Lucian and Scion both off the table, off of it very quickly. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, my co-caster is currently busy at the time. He will be arriving shortly after the Champ Select is completed and concluded. Till then, boys, let's see what we got here coming up. Yasuo and Zyra all being taken off the table as Dragokinya was dominant on Yasuo, certainly going to get banned away. Camille been taken away, Zyra been taken away, and Sejuani, the most common Sejuani jungling action, has been taken away as well. But anyway, we're looking at Rem right here, and he's certainly sitting on a lot of options. Going to look for the Veigar. Going to get it set for Spike 2929. Honestly, Spike was known as a top laner. So they wanted to get rid of Scion as the option, assuming Spike was going to be the top laner at the time, or the mid laner, if you can put Scion anywhere, in my opinion. But in any case, Lucius... Sorry. Still sick, ladies and gentlemen. Lucius Bess is now picking his champion, and it looks to be confirmed Trundle. Trundle has been confirmed. Volibear as the second option. Ladies and gentlemen, Volibear has finally been nominated and brought onto a team for the very first time since the last patch changes. Volibear has been not seen in any competitive matches in a millennia. But for the first time, thanks to that little AoE he gets from the E, he is much more viable for tanks, so he will be selected by Dub. Meanwhile, Canadian champ, feeling pretty good right now, wants to take the J4 into this matchup. He will take it. He's ready to go. Spike 2929 is now sitting at a lot of options. Will he take a top laner to oppose the Trundle? He's looking at Cho'Gath. He will select Cho'Gath to be the top laning opponent. So we've got the tops, we've got the jungles and mids for the AOL side. Will this be a support grab for Drago, or will he take his play knowing Veigar is the mid laner? He likes Orianna. He's gonna take it. Going into this matchup, let's see if Orianna is going to be the champion that will make or break here. Lots of All One Lane fans in the chat room. My goodness, I've never seen AOL nearly as much as I've seen anything else. But by the way, also been apparently big news as well. Jin Daddy is once again not being played for DTS. Very interesting. They really aren't missing him too much, as Drago was absolutely badass on that Yasuo last time. So they're feeling pretty good about him. We have sitting with us right now a few options at the ADC and support positions. Both Vayne and Varus have been taken out of the conversation. So will Tristana, as Bludit's ADC options are starting to dwindle down. Will he be forced to take a Twitch, or is TK looking for Twitch himself? As Braum has been picked as well. TK gonna go right for the Twitch. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. It's time to grab me some rat. And it is one of the most strongest late game range damage dealers that love to surprise champions. Looking for some more Twitch action. And he's certainly making up his mind at the last second. Will confirm the Twitch. And Bludit now sitting with less options at ADC. As most of the late game ADCs have been taken away, he will sit on the Kog'Maw. And because they banned Braum, the 1-2 punch duo is not going to have that chance. And now it looks to be Lulu as the follow-up option here, as Sushi is currently going to be sitting at a couple of choices for himself. Not a many, not a many choices Sushi has, but Lulu is a very strong champion to make Kog'Maw even more powerful. I do agree with you, by the way, Omnipotent. You definitely have a good and honest point. Going Twitch into this comp will end up allowing a much bigger, wider plays. But there is one thing in particular that comp doesn't seem to have, and that is a dash. In fact, none of those champions have a dash. They're going to be relying heavily on their movement speed to rush over to the target. And that'll be basically a very big giveaway until they get themselves a Righteous Glory and then turn their speed into just incredibly high speeds. So I would imagine there's definitely going to be a lot of running at the target and trying to take him out here. Versus what I do agree with you right here, Red Knight Games. I do agree with you entirely. It is going to be the Protect the Kog'Maw comp with a little Vhagar on the side for extra burst explosive damage. Both Kog'Maw and Vhagar happen to have ultimates that are health percentage damage base. The lower the health you are, the more damage they will do. And that is locked in on all fronts and all sides. Looks to be a very interesting match to come for sure, as I will be shortly waiting for my casting partner to arrive shortly after. He was helping out All One Lane as the coach. He should be arriving pretty shortly. Gonna be waiting right here for him in case he shows up.
Good evening. My name is Draxyr, the coach for AOL. Sounds a little biased, but that's okay. I'll cheer for both teams equally in this casting.
You certainly were helping out as much as you can for their team, and let's hope the comp that you've suggested is going to work. A lot of people in the audience feeling like this is just a decently crafted Kog'Maw comp. What do you think about that personally?
Actually, I wasn't necessarily going for a Protect the Kog'Maw composition. When you're looking for a Protect the Kog'Maw, you're looking for top picks like Shen, mid picks like Galio. We were actually just going for champion strength in general, making sure that our champions were A tier and above on the meta list so that we can have a stronger overall individual power.
In the Bronze, Silver, and Gold competitive series so far, a lot of the time people seem to really focus on Season 7 and Season 8 for those tier patches when it comes down to who's the most valuable, who's the most important. Like, no one seems to be able to make the big change or the big movement yet. Do you feel like with the Volibear changes here, do you think having J4 against the Volibear is a good idea?
In fact, in the AOL champ pick and bans, I actually wanted him to pick Warwick, but he arrived at his computer a little bit too late and panic picked the Jarvan.
Oh.
So it should have been a Warwick pick against the Volibear, which is a much stronger matchup than the Jarvan pick for sure. Of course, we've seen the Volibear flip canceling Jarvan EQ as a very crippling move against the Jarvan 4, and Warwick, of course, having stronger 1v1 potential and 2v2 potential in general. Jarvan, of course, being a more mid-game pick with that Cataclysm ultimate. But we'll see how Canadian can utilize Jarvan's very specific power spikes throughout the game. Like I said, the stronger meta picks nowadays are strong throughout the entire game, not just at specific points.
Gonna have to say, what a circle that your team seems to be having for their skill shots in particular. Cho'Gath's got a Q that just does a circle, J4's ultimate's a circle, Vhagar's E's a circle. I think the hitbox and Kog'Maw's ultimate is also a circle. And I think
it is indeed.
And Lulu does an ultimate which knocks everybody up in a circle. So I guess you're just a big fan of the circles, huh?
A big fan of the circles. Squares, triangles, not for me. I like the circles a lot now. Like I said, Warwick would have been a much stronger pick in terms of champion strength and composition in general, appealing for that Kog'Maw Lulu, but mishaps happen, and we'll see how they manage to play it out. Like I said, that Volibear going to be stronger in the early game before 6 and even stronger post 6. So we'll see how the jungle differences in terms of champions will play into this game.
Speaking of playing into this game here for the first time in AOL history on Duo Esports, Kid of Fire is not playing in the matchup as their main shot caller, their inspiration, and their motivational leader. Do you feel like AOL is weaker significantly for Kid, or do you feel like this is going to be an interesting tale to take between these matchups?
You were definitely right. Kid of Fire, definitely a very big rock for AOL to stand on every game, shot calling, consistently keeping the communication flow throughout the team. However, talking with Kid, playing games with him, he feels that his laning and team fighting could use a bit of work mechanically, his champion pool. So we have decided to replace him in the mid lane with Spike 2929, who has we've seen so far to have stronger laning, stronger team fighting. However, that does mean that Little Remrem in the top lane has to take over the shot calling role. So while we don't have access to their comms, hopefully they will be able to keep up the stream of communication necessary in these Duo League competitive games.
You're going to need a good set amount of communication here as well for Kog'Maw's sake. Kog'Maw will be definitely focused heavily by Volibear during this matchup to come for sure. They'll just try to get Kog'Maw in such a unfavorable position and spot. I feel like Kog'Maw here is definitely going to have a lot of struggles because Volibear with the Q, with the Righteous Glory, you might as I don't even think there's enough time for the Veigar E to get into place by the time he gets right past and can get to instantly on top of Kog'Maw and force him into a unfavorable position. Do you feel like that'll come to be a massive factor into the match, or do you think that it'll come down to another factor?
You're definitely right. You actually mentioning the Q movement speed buffed recently, the Righteous Glory movement speed always formidable, but there's also the factor of Dub taking Ghost. So with all three things procced, he's going to be extremely fast. Not to mention Orianna's W movement speed if she chooses to use it, as well as the constant looming threat of that ultimate ball sitting on Volibear's back, and the Taric ult to provide that engage. So we'll see how. As their name is, can pull off that specific team fight engage combo. You cannot underestimate, however, the team fighting power of Jarvan and Veigar. As you said, it is possible that Volibear can run past the Veigar E. However, he cannot just run past the Cho'Gath Jarvan frontline without being stopped in his tracks. So we'll see how they manage to pull off those mid-game, late-game team fights in terms of positioning.
So, a few minor details to go over as well for DTS. Drago, coming off of a great Yasuo game, had that banned away from him. So in this matchup to come, it looks like Canada's going to get some free trade onto TK, revealing that he has gone with a very interesting Resolve Tree purchase. He wants to have I believe, one of the newest masteries in that Resolve Tree. I forgot what it was called. Do you remember?
It's called Bone Plating. One of the most interesting things Riot has come up with in the recent patches. Many people complaining, of course, Hashinshin right through the Counter-Strike, complaining that top lane is in a bad spot with tanks dominating in terms of lane pressure as well as team fighting prowess. And Riot acknowledging his concerns, introducing the Conqueror, or I do believe it's Conqueror Keystone in the PvE, for the Bruisers, and also coming out with a very tank-centric Resolve secondary rune in Bone Plating. A very interesting decision in terms of Riot.
Adds a lot more early armor in the early stages, really reducing that extra pressure, and TK might have found something really interesting to his kit style. At the sacrifice of attack speed, he is only a minor increase of I think it might be a slight attack speed increase, actually. I believe if you go in between the two from the Resolve Tree, I think it's like an attack speed increase only, no physical damage increase, and extra health. I'm pretty sure that's how it is.
Yeah, you're correct. Nowadays, it splits between the trees. So if you have Precision Primary and Resolve Secondary, it will split 9% attack speed and I believe around 50-60 health from that Resolve Secondary.
Going off of the early stages here so far, it looks like the J4 happens to be just a step faster and clear than the Volibear as of right now. Looks to be Volibear finally finishing the blue buff at this time as he appears to be positioning for a gank at bot side. He's walking right for it right now.
He's coming through the tri-bush.
Heading right straight for that tri-bush. Will he make this attempt? It doesn't look like they're in a good enough position for it. They're going to try. Stun lands. Luda's in a bad spot here. Dub will not have the speed necessary, and it's going to be some return fire by Bludid.
Yeah, it is a 2-summoner trade in general. Both of Tarek's summoners for both flashes, of course, Exhaust being on a shorter cooldown than the flash, a overall gain for DTS.
Meanwhile, Canadian champ did go for a gank in mid lane, did not go well. Drago seems to have saw that coming a mile away, so no pressure, didn't even have to flash. Well, actually, only had to flash once in that.
He did burn flash, so in terms of total summoner spells burned, that is a win for the AOL roster.
Yep, the ADC still doesn't have flash. I don't know if Volibear is going to try a play over in that angle, but I would imagine Volibear is thinking about how to get some more CS at this time. Looking like he's heading right for the crab. Meanwhile, Rem and Lucius Best going at it. Lucius Best from the Gathering of Warriors earlier in the week did a very good job. DTS said, you know what, let's get this guy. And they happen to have him in the match. Anyway, looks like a gank is about to happen. Little Rem decides to land the Q. He's looking for a little bit more. The silence lands. Rem, ooh, dangerously close, but forces Dub to lose a lot of health, and his passive is now procced. Dub lost the passive. He won't be able to utilize that later, but the pillar, oh, Lucius Best misplays the pillar. Slightly
blocks
off target.
His own jungler as well.
Slightly off target. I think he knew he could throw it further, but he thought he could get a better knock-up if he tried to get it just in that special pixel box. Didn't seem to land like he expected, and Rem certainly surviving the 2v1 right now as Volibear begins to back.
This is a lot of time being burned for Dub on that Volibear. However, he does manage to get Remnant's flash. It's going to be a pretty important factor in top lane fights in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, no kidding. Looks like Bludid here is getting some pressure, going to try to force them further under tower. Do you think this is a wise strategy against their group?
Tarek is one of the weakest laners of the supports in the current meta, so Lulu Kog'Maw pushing them under tower, forcing more pressure, is definitely the line of play that they want to follow. All they have to be careful, of course, is the Volibear ganks with no flashes available. Definitely a guaranteed kill. However, Volibear is on the top side of the map, looking for possibly a repeat gank top lane.
Rem certainly feels pretty confident right now. He's getting close to his level 6, and that is going to give him a good chance to surprise Lucius Best with some true damage. However, Lucius Best's ultimate is very strong and could just keep him in the battle, and that's where Rem is going to have a lot of more struggles. He's going to go for the ult on the siege minion to get his passive going, so he's definitely not considering trying to force a fight on Lucius Best. I think it's a very wise decision, I'd say.
Do keep in mind that Rem being at full HP...
Ooh, takes the prediction, says he's right there, and he procs the pillar, forcing him to lose out on that. Great decision and great understanding of Lucius Best right there. Completely aware of Rem.
Do keep in mind that Rem is full HP, not because he backed and teleported like Lucius did on the Trundle, but actually because his passive sustained him all the way back to full HP.
Oh, he got wedged into a corner here. Rem does get the knock up on both. That might buy him a couple of seconds. The ultimate by Lucius Best did come in pretty nicely. Drago is getting pressured in. The ult's now coming in. And Spike will take a tower shot to go, but Drago's pretty low. He does not have the mana for an ultimate, so he's not going to try for it.
Actually, quite a large mistake on the side of Spike, not having enough mana for the ultimate, but instead throws the Q, hoping that he can land it. Now has no kill pressure. If all he did was save that Q mana and look for a QR in the next couple of seconds as his mana flow ban kicks in, that could have been a kill on Drago in the next couple of seconds. But instead, he opts to back with both flash and teleport available.
Yep, he did have an opportunity to get that play to work. Q mana is like around 50 to 60 for him on stacking up, correct? It's about right around there, 50, 60?
Yeah, that is correct.
All right, so his ultimate is 100, so therefore, yeah, it just a small wait. He could have gotten Drago to feel a little extra confidence, hit the flash, hit the ultimate, get an auto in case that doesn't kill him, and then get the job done from there, because I don't think Drago, Drago's still off of the flash, so that would have been a kill. Bit of a small missed opportunity on his part, but the game remains killless so far as we reach the 8-minute mark.
Quite a bit of action for the lack of kills. 3 ganks, 4 ganks so far, 2 on each side have gone down. Summoners burned, but no casualties as of yet.
And it's been really good for their chances so far. Trundle now looking down. He's going to walk right into a control ward. He just finds it. He's going to go ahead and clear out the Scuttle Crab to get some extra farm while this bot lane continues their pressure game.
It's a bit of a misstep from the AOL roster. They know that Remrem has the teleport advantage, not having any wards for him to teleport to get behind this Taric Twitch bot lane.
They have a control ward in position at this time as well. Bluedit is going to try to get some autos off. The slow has landed. It's engage time. The slow has cornered in TK. He's now in a horrible spot with the ultimate. Bluedit once again misreading that ultimate shot, but it's J4 to secure the kill. Bluedit, I think, was expecting a flash from TK.
TK actually flashes to get away from Jarvan's EQ. One of the biggest mistakes that you actually can make. Defluff going low.
Pretty low on that one. Sushi here to support him instead of going for Defluff. Defluff will escape the tower. I think may have been a little small misread by Sushi. He could have had a very great play on Defluff on that one. Had the flash, has ignite.
Drago and Dub moving in on Canadian.
Ooh.
Canadian has no E.
Nowhere to go, ends up going down rather quickly. Unfortunate for Canadian champion. He just did not seem to know where to go, and by the time he realized he had nowhere to go, it was already too late.
He actually flashed to get the kill on Takey, perhaps not necessary with Bluedit being able to pick that up himself, and then used his flag to cancel Fluff's recall, so when the Volibear converged on him with the Ghost active, he had nothing to get away.
Yeah, Pete's definitely trying to, he wanted a play to happen, but certainly did not really work out like he intended. So far, the audience, big AOL fans so far, they are seeing their members go 1-for-1 so far. Spike almost gets overwhelmed, and Drago is about to get 3v2 situations between Dub and Drago. The knockup actually does land. Dub's going to get wedged into a spot, and there's the ultimate. Pow! Takes the blue buff away.
A very nice timed teleport from Remrem. However, Lucius did have the counter teleport, deciding not to use it. Reminds me of Fridge from a week ago.
No flash. They're going to realize that the cleanse comes into play. Zanya's Hourglass now in proc. The damage burst was coming through, but Canadian could not survive long enough, and it looks like Spike did not want to tank the tower. Little slight miscommunication on their positioning there. I think Spike would have ended up having a kill if it wasn't for the fact that the Zanya's Hourglass was as well placed as it was.
It would have been very close if they traded aggro. Perhaps, if gone a little bit wrong, Drago would have gotten the double kill. So I think the safer play might have been correct there. They should have known that the Hourglass was there and played around it. Certainly. Note to all of you, if your enemy has Hourglass in their inventory and it is active after the 10-minute mark from the inspiration tree, play around it.
Dub here is going to try to stop Veigar from getting a free combo on him. Veigar will push him into the jungle, but it looks like they're going to run right into it. He will use the Blast Cone, and that's honestly a very strange engage that was. Now Volibear is in the top half of the jungle as we look at the bot lane. Sushi trying to make some trades onto TK. That damage is pretty decent, but it's going to be some trading back. While at the top side, Rem is about to 1v2 again as he's racing as far away as he can. He gets a proc of his passive. Canadian is still trying to get into position, but there's absolutely no chance will he be able to get out of that one. Too much burst, and they had him wedged, body blocking him into the corner.
Remrem actually burned Flash in the gank at the mid lane, so having no way to get out of that.
Canadian is now being chased by Dub. He needs to just get a little closer. The Ghost will come into play. Dub's damage, it might be enough. He will burst him from the W, taking advantage of the fact that his opponent had low health and used it at a very strong point. Takes him down with a big burst damage.
That is first tower blood going to the Volibear and Trundle of the DTS top jungle players. A big boon for their team.
One of the most strongest part of Volibear's kits that I've personally come to love is he has an execution from his W. And it is also an attack speed increase as well as you do so. So that's just amazing amount of just pressure you can instantly put on somebody, and you can really make them worried about how low their health bar gets, because you can just take them off of the map if they get just close to that 10% of their health bar mark.
Tarek actually backs in the bot lane for DTS. It's going to be a lot of pressure for this Twitch if the AOL bot lane pressures him. Unfortunately, they do not.
The tower falling down earlier for Trundle means Lucius Best and Volibear will be the ones to secure the first blood on the tower. The lockdown again, they're going to be some wombo de combo, and bye-bye. Here comes the cannon shot by Spike as he takes out Orianna cleanly. Great job by Canadian to make those plays work very simply. Here comes an ult onto the play. Dub's got some reinforcements to Fluff, healing up Dub, and Dub's going to get the last hit in from the ultimate proc. That's some big damage, and Lucius Best continues to get some pressure onto Rem, but it looks like Rem has caught him in a bad spot. The ultimate cooldown is finally off, but it's going to be the flash by Lucius Best to avoid the free kill.
It is going to be the battle of the Titans as this mid-game approaches. Veigar versus Volibear. If Volibear's tankiness can be enough to bring his team the team fight win, or Veigar's one-shot burst taking out a member of DTS. We'll see how it turns out. Let's look at the farm numbers really quickly in the top lane. Cho'Gath has a 15 farm lead. There is a 1v1 going down between Trundle and Cho'Gath.
Absolutely there is, and you can see it right now. Rem is on the run. The ultimate is stealing 20% of his armor and magic resist, all to make it much easier for Rem to make the decision to run, and Lucius Best for the decision to continue his engage. He's decided to go Ravenous Hydra, not going to utilize.
Drago's trapped.
Oh, he's got stunned. He has to cleanse out of there.
Both summoners burn for Drago. It's going to be a pretty big deal in the next couple of minutes as this dragon comes into contention. However, in the top lane, Remrem has no tower to run underneath the protection of. Going to be a massive factor in whether these top laners can join the fight at the dragon.
Rem has more health than Lucius Best, but Lucius Best has a better life steal, as well as his passives giving him much more life. Rem's going to be in a bad spot, no matter how you look at it. Oh, Ludit is turning it all the way around. He's throwing every ability he's got. TK certainly doesn't want to lose the fight yet. DeFluff can't seem to figure out what to do, so he just kind of lets all that damage go through without a heal or a W proc.
And this CS advantage is piling up in the bot lane, going to approach 20 after this. A lot of tower damage going to go down. Twitch is at 15% HP. I want to see the Kog'Maw Lulu pressuring the tower, but they don't know that the enemy top and jungle are taking Rift Herald as we speak.
The lack of vision is apparent here. They could just be assuming at this stage that Volibear's just doing his wolf camp. And that is an honest and fair suspicion because they still have 0 wards in that entire environment. As they now realize that Herald is going to be gone, which means that is a good and free Cloud Drake for all one lane's team.
Quite a ballsy move, not placing down the pink ward before starting it so that the enemy knows for sure, 100%, that they are doing it. It's always better to place the pink ward, wait for the vision cancellation to kick in, and then start it.
Definitely a wise decision for sure. The health bar of Rem is much more apparent now.
4-man bot lane coming in for DTS. Volibear and Orianna moving down.
That initiation. No stun has landed. DeFluff misses that one as well. Ultimate
Ludit has flash.
Play. Here we go. Ludit's got nowhere to go. Completely wedged into a bad spot. They're going to try to...
Cho'Gath is here.
Cho'Gath with a knock-up. It's somehow Sushi takes out the EDC. Cho'Gath gets a double kill. He's looking for the triple. No, Veigar secures it at the last second for his own third kill.
Massive teleport by Remrem coming in to clean up the fight. Canadian champ landed the 4-man knockup. Massive team fight initiation for AOL.
Well, I almost died with how epic that was. A lot of dead bodies in that one, and I was almost one of them.
There are a lot of misplays happening by Lucius Best in the top lane. He's constantly burning his teleport to get lane pressure, and it's really hitting DTS in the back. in these team fights.
Well, Rem is expecting that tower to finally go down. He tanked that for a good long while. I guess he knew he was kind of back, so it didn't have to have too much of an importance. Well, Cho'Gath's decision to go Righteous Glory as his first item definitely came into play for sure, as he was able to get a perfect package deal to get himself a nice double kill from that 4-man play. Great job by Canadian Champ locking everybody in, and a bit of a big misread by DTS, as they just did not seem to realize that all one lane was coming.
Very interesting Rift Herald placement. If you recall a couple minutes earlier, they traded the Cloud Dragon for that Rift Herald. They placed it mid lane without having any picks and having 2 members of AOL in the mid lane, and all it does is chunk this mid tower to about 45% HP. Not going to earn them anything definitive as of yet.
Well, it will be something they'll have to work on in the future. Orianna still trying to get some extra proc. Lucius Best, I think, may have pushed his luck here a little bit. He's trying to get out. That's some big damage. Lucius
oh, the auto attack!
Oh, the auto! I didn't even see it. And I don't think Lucius saw it either. He goes down.
Taking invisible. Canadian engages onto 3 members of DTS.
Yes, he does. And Drago barely staying alive. The champion is going down. Canadian Champ will not be able to take even a single member out. And Spike's got no way to peel himself. He does get the stun to land. He Zanya's it. But it will be Dub easily taking that tower. Rem
comes in.
He's speeding up. He does not get the speed in time to get into position to get even 1 member. And the bot lane will not make the rotation as they take the top tower at the fall of mid tower.
A massive misplay from Canadian
Champ by
Champ.
Rem. He's feeling pretty good right now. Gets an auto off. Dodges the stun. He's looking for TK. Here comes everybody back in. And somehow Dragon's got all of his health back after all.
Rem has flash.
Health. Rem is in a bad spot here. The slows are starting to come in. It's not enough. He does hit Volibear and Volibear alone as he manages to get out of there. Veigar, you got him pretty strong right now. What do you do with him, in your opinion?
Veigar definitely has one of the strongest zoning tools in the game with his E. What I want to see is a 5-man siege sometime. However, it's going to be stopped by Lucius Best split pushing on that Trundle. And keep in mind, as this game goes on, and Rem did lose the CS advantage that he had initially, Lucius is going to slowly gain advantages in that 1v1 matchup.
And that very slow change might be something catastrophic for the chances of DTS.
Absolutely. It was a very massive misplay from Canadian Champ, EQing Jarvan's only mobility tools into the enemy, not knowing where Twitch and Tarek were.
They're trying to clear out some vision here, and Lucius is going to try to take
Lucius
advantage
caught.
of something. It's some knockups, but he does not get held down for long. The tenacity, plus the fact that he might be railing some extra
Canadian
tenacity.
stunned.
Yep, Canadian is going to throw himself into an ultimate. He's going to try to get what little burst he can. It's not enough, but they will be able to take out the Twitch on the side. Little Rem takes him out with an ultimate. He wants some more. He will get the stun.
Tarek knocked
hits
out.
the knock-up. The Fluff is racing as fast as he can out of there. Dub is getting some more pressure as he uses his E to get the slow and the knockback. It will disengage the fight. 1-for-1 trade on both sides.
Very interesting positioning from the Twitch there, not really reading what his teammates were trying to do, contesting Jarvan's vision clearing, gets caught out on the side by Rem with that Righteous Glory. As you mentioned earlier, that first item buy going to make him very scary in terms of picking.
The tower will now fall as they will have no time to get there to stop that inevitability. And now every first tier tower on all lanes has been destroyed. 3 tower to the 2 tower advantage. And all one lane happens to have the gold lead for now at 2K.
Let's take a look at where that gold is going, however. On AOL's side, most of that gold is in the hands of Spike in that mid lane. 30 CS ahead of the Orianna, 4-1. I think it's going to be more impactful than Volibear having that 5-2 on a tank. Not necessarily going to be able to kill someone in the upcoming team fights. Very scary for DTS.
Yes, that's very true, but I'm also going to admit here that of all the champions to be pretty strong right now, Volibear happens to be a very dangerous one for this time of the patch. So I'm honestly just expecting some very bizarre play styles coming from Volibear's strategy here. He does have the movement speed. I do not know if he's going to go for a Sheen proc coming up.
This is the 5v5 we're looking for.
Yep, here we go. Is it an Infernal Drake? Somehow Cho'Gath with the ultimate.
Massive Oriole!
Big ultimate by Orianna, and it will be Volibear that just barely stays up thanks to the ultimate. He gets those auto attacks off, and his passive starting to come in. That is multiple kills now for Volibear. He's looking for another one, but it will be Twitch that actually secures it. All one lane was wedged into a corner, gets themselves an Infernal Drake, and looks like they'll lose the Baron for it.
And like you said, Volibear having that 5-2 gave him enough tankiness to just withstand 3 members free firing on him for over 6 seconds, getting them that teamfight victory. Orianna setting up the massive ultimate. Credit going to Dragokine for that teamfight play.
DTS does not like their Baron right now. They don't feel like they can get it with the tanks they've got. They're going to just take a tower and back off. Interesting decision. Would have expected a Baron here, but I guess they just don't feel like they have enough trust in the heal factor from Tarek.
Definitely a misplay on the side of DTS. That was a free Baron. 4 people were up on their side with their AD carry being among them.
Yeah, 2 tanks and a self-sustaining Trundle too. So yeah, I don't know. I think that might have been a bit of a bad call on their part, but they did get a tower, so they certainly didn't waste their time.
Gold lead has shifted now in the favor of DTS with that 1k going more towards the Volibear. Volibear got a triple kill in that team fight. And actually, because DTS only got a tower, in fact, that tower is indeed worth the Infernal Drake. So because of that Baron misplay, Dragokine burning clans, because they did not take Baron, I think that's actually a net gain for the AOL side.
Might be one of the things that they could really keep that advantage of. Lucius Best certainly by himself, but he's not telling that to Rem. He's going to go for the ultimate here to lower Rem's armor and magic resist. That damage is starting to come through. The sustained turnaround. Lucius Best has finally got his point across to Rem, and Rem will be backing all the way off with probably the assumption that there was reinforcements coming. Now Lucius Best, no ultimate. I don't think Rem's got to worry about nothing at this point.
That's correct. Lucius Best really only has kill pressure on the Cho'Gath when his ultimate is up. If it is not, he's basically doing P damage, P shooter Ezreal damage to that Cho'Gath. Tarek burns Righteous Glory on nothing. He must have intended to ward, and
yeah, might have been a misclick.
Lucius Best versus Rem in the bot lane. Let's see how the matchup goes now that Lucius has no ultimate.
Will be sustained. That seems to be working out for him. He's no longer in
Lucius
the
gets hit by the knockup. Rem has ultimate. This is going to be very close.
He's looking at it. Lucius Best's pillar's going to be coming off cooldown soon. The knockup's still in the play.
Oh! Or he misses ultimate. Volibear has burned Ghost. AOL is responding, but it's just too slow.
Yep, I think that was honestly a big misread of AOL there. There is absolutely no chance Volibear was not going to take out Rem in that situation. I don't know. I think they could have been a little bit more shoving in the mid side, maybe even get some Baron pressure. Kind of a big misread on all one lane there. They really should think about trying to get some objective rotation.
It was an unfortunate timing of that colossal 1v1 for both teams, as both teams were not in position to punish it if it went either way.
Well, the Fluff certainly spots out a ward. They're certainly waiting for anybody to accidentally walk into the area.
It's a death bush.
Yep. Here comes some lockdown.
The Fluff flashes out.
He will be locked into that ultimate. Ult's going off now by DeFluff.
He survives.
Mortality. How long will it last? Just long enough for him to get out, apparently.
That is Tarek ult burn, one of the biggest team fight capabilities that the DTS side have. Let's see if Canadians' Jarvan 4 ultimate is worth the trade.
Volibear has had his pressure, and he's certainly doing a really great job. But so far, his team are just a step behind him when it comes to damage and bursting. DK,
oh, Lucius!
Oh, yeah, that did not work out for Lucius Best at all. Unfortunate.
Do keep in mind that Jarvan 4 ultimate is strongest against carries that have no flash. So if he saved that ultimate a little bit longer for someone that they knew did not have flash on the DTS side, it would have been a guaranteed kill.
Show still on the split. DeFluff was now inside the baby cage. The stun actually does land. DeFluff will not be fully committed on. because Spike already got the trade off in the first place. Rem still not going for the push. Lucius Best has no way to survive other than
Canadian walks right by Volibear, doesn't see him. Rem is getting collapsed on by 3 people.
Yes, he is, and he's got nowhere to go. J4 is going to try to go to his rescue. Yep, they're picking him off. Rem is going to just accept the fate of what is given to him. Going to buy him a couple more seconds, but it's not enough seconds of time. Right now, TP now coming in from Lucius. It is going to be all one lane trying to start up the Baron. They're going to make some big damage. They have health percentage damage from Kog'Maw, and it's certainly coming through. 4,000 on the Baron. Finally, Lucius Best gets in there, but he won't
3.5k. Oriana has ultimate.
It might be enough. It's 1,000.
Orion lands.
Finally stopped hitting it. The Baron's at 900. And it looks
Jarvan
like
secures it.
He'll get it with the smite, but it looks like Lulu will go down for the trade. Blue does go for the flash. Dub is way too fast. There's no way Blue is going to get out of this one. He goes for every auto attack he can pull off on the kite, but he will go down, and that is multiple members going down. J4 saves the Baron, so good on him. There's
massive mistake from the AOL side, standing still when hitting the Baron. If you move while hitting the Baron's tentacles will not hit you, as they are skill
Flash
shots.
now comes into play. TK, it was isolated, now has some reinforcements coming in. Canadian certainly looking like he's playing a little bit of hockey because he's getting right into the finish.
Rem's here!
But here comes Rem to the rescue. He's getting now wedged in by 4 members, somehow staying alive through all of that. That tankiness is insane. Zanya's now in play.
2v4.
Is looking for a bite. He gets 1 bite. He gets the knockup, hits both of them, and gets the silence to take out the ADC. He's still running after Drago. The damage, he needs to get into range. He couldn't do it. He does get the knockup, but he sacrifices himself for it. The 3 for 2 for DTS.
Definitely not worth it considering they had someone with Baron buff. Now, no one with Baron buff. Baron completely gone to waste.
Yep, they wanted a little bit more, and they just couldn't seem to reach it, so they put every resource they could to get it. And now the Baron they just got is now unfortunate, because it does not seem to help them out here. It looks to be a free Baron for, yeah, this is all but free. I don't think that Dub is going to let this go. They're going to pull it out to make sure Cog has 0 chance of hitting the ult on it. The Dragon's going back.
Resets!
The Dragon on the reset. Cogma's got a chance. It's not going to be a big enough chance. Dub's not going to let that go. He will smite to guarantee the Cloud Drake for DTS.
Very close. Let's look at the itemization on both sides real quick as we have a breather. What an action-packed game for these 30 minutes.
I was having I was burping, I was coughing, I was sneezing. I just couldn't. There was so much excitement, my body couldn't even take it. Sorry about that, Doki. I was just dying real quick. That's where the shot calling was.
Ginsu's Rage Blade and Runon's Hurricane completed for the Kog'Maw. He's looking for that Lord Dominic's Regard so he can really chunk down that Volibear when the time comes. Ardent Sensor completed on the Lulu, going to make that even more impactful. On the Twitch's side, he has that 2-item stage with the Runons and the IE. However, he is going Blade of the Ruin King on Twitch, which currently is one of the worst things you can do. Blade of the Ruin King is in a terrible item state right now because it does percent HP damage, but the percent HP damage that it does is physical.
Right.
So even though it seems like it might work well against tanks, the tank's armor will mitigate the percent HP damage, making it almost completely useless versus the Shiv, PD, Rapid Fire Cannon buys.
I do agree with your assessment here, considering how much Rem's armor he currently has as of right now. But he does happen to have a lot of health over the armor that he has. He's sitting at around 4,000 health. So that's kind of a warrant for a Blade of the Ruin King here, I'd say, for instance. It might be one of those rare instances where that is the case. It's a little bit of lockdown. The 4-man knockup. Champion is in, Canadian is now going to finally be able to get that
Twitch popping off!
Out of nowhere! It's going to get bursted so fast I couldn't even finish the bit there. Rem is going to go ahead and get the knock-up here. It's Lucius Best that's trying to set up the front, but it's going to backfire on him. Everybody's very low. It's trying
Blue
to
doing so much damage!
Canadian will. There it is, Blue.
Ultimate lands from the Oriana!
Oh my goodness, that range is insane. Drago does go down for the ace. All one lane wins that big fight. This could be the end
No
of the match.
one dies!
All
No
one
one
lane
died on the AOL side!
All one lane can win the match here. They have to run all the way through this one and somehow overpower the Twitch.
9 seconds on the Twitch respawn.
Do they
Twitch
go for it?
no
They
ultimate.
do not seem like they want it at all. They're going to back off and rotate for that tower. They're going to head over to that area. I think is a big misread on all one lane, but they were a little bit more worried about the follow-up. They didn't think they can get rid of the towers fast enough.
It would have been extremely close, and if they lost there, because the death timers are 35 seconds, they would have for sure lost their mid inhibitor tower, and their inhibitor as well. So I think, while definitely a possible end if Takey mispositions, if Takey just waited for his team to respawn and then engaged, it would have been a wipe.
Yep, and for the time being, all one lane has exposed the base here. Happens to now have one tower at bot lane down, so they're looking at some pressure in mid lane here. All one lane will know very soon that the Baron is coming up in 1 minute and 30 seconds since the last one that was used. Let's see if all one lane King has secured themselves another Baron, or will this be a DTS turning point?
Well, there's a bit of breathing room. Oh, no, Cho'Gath engages on Volibear. What breathing room? This game is always going. Cho'Gath looks for the slow.
It will not land. He gets some stun, locks up the Taric. Taric had nowhere to go for the brief moment, but now it seems to be all right. The pressure did work. They're going to have to wait for the next play for sure to see where Cho'Gath goes. Bot lane is now with a couple of minions. They're making the rotations to top here as the Baron is going to come up in 1 minute. All one lane and DTS cannot allow each other to have a Baron right now. Neither side can give up a Baron.
You're absolutely correct. There are a couple of things that went into that last team fight. Let's talk about it really quickly, see if we can get it in before the next team fight. Twitch, with that engage, did a lot of damage, and in fact would have won his team the team fight with that flank if he had flash available. But because he didn't, that he was able, the AOL side was able to quickly lock him down and kill him before he completely wiped their team. If he had flash to dodge their abilities, it would have been a complete wipe. Look at the engage.
Yep, and it looks like this could be the last one. It is going to be Rem going in with the ultimate on Orianna. KK is almost untouched. Champion tried to get into the back line to get that spot. He did not make it happen. Rem is going to get some autos off. Two members of DTS have gone down. Sorry. And it looks like all one lane has all but won the match. Their pressure on the towers are coming in. Rem is still alive and healthy. The lockup, he will get the fluff.
Watch the Vigar.
Yep, and it looks like that will be
Boom!
a big burst. They take him out.
Boom!
Ultimates. And all one lane has managed to win the fight of their very first one, all without Kid of Fire. I can't believe it. The Nexus is now going to be pop, and all one lane has won the first match.
Oh my gosh, what a game. Non-stop action. Couldn't even analyze what I needed to analyze.
No,
oh.
No way. Could not even analyze. There is absolutely too much intensity going on right now, folks.
All right, have a bit of downtime here before the next game. Ooh. Let me finish my sentence. The Twitch with the flank, if he had flash available, would have been able to wipe. Orianna's itemization with the Rylai's, a massive misstep. Zhonya's okay in certain situations. However, with the Rylai's buy, not able to actually kill anyone landing these big 3-man ultimates. It, in fact, tagged the Kog'Maw in that one team fight near the blue buff of DTS, but wasn't enough damage to straight up kill him. If that Rylai's was a straight up damage item and not an off-tank item, he actually would have turned the fight for DTS, but because of that itemization mistake, they lost the team fight. Another mistake coming in from Dub was the Thormail buy. The only sustain on the side of AOL was the Cho'Gath, and he sustains off killing minions. So in team fights, there is no healing whatsoever on the side of AOL.
Right, and the auto attacks from Kog'Maw were not sustained, and it does get a little bit of trade back, but with the fact that he does have the Hurricane going, he'll just be healing off of other targets, as well as he autos them through. So, yeah, honestly, just seemed to be a really good job by All One Lane for the fact that they didn't have Kid of Fire. One very important thing I'd like to go before we head right into the graphs here. Crowd control score, 103 crowd control score by Cho'Gath.
Woo! Remrem
103.
definitely doing a great job.
I have never seen a number that high. I didn't even think a champion could get a crowd control score of 103. But that is impressive. My goodness, I've never seen it that high.
Let's take a look at the damage charts.
Yes, we
after
should.
this.
Vhagar here with the most damage. Cho'Gath following up with the second place on that damage. And Kog'Maw hitting the solid third place in the damage of the whole game. With Trundle going 22,000 on his damage. The Twitch going 22,000 on his as well. 22.8k. Trundle doing 22.4k. And we have Orianna 21.4k as well.
And it did come back to bite them. Like I said, the gold going on to Volibear, not necessarily going to be able to win them these late game team fights. Only showing up for 17.5k damage overall.
And very impressive numbers despite that for Cho'Gath and Kog'Maw. You know, Blooded has been having a lot more struggle damage-wise going into this match. Going prior to this match, he was struggling quite a bit. He certainly found his groove in Kog'Maw in this matchup. Everything seemed to went really well for him. Let's go on to damage taken and mitigated damage as well. Damage taken here. Cho'Gath will edge out the Trundle in both damage taken and self-mitigated damage. So very solid job at the front line for the Cho'Gath. He certainly, statistically speaking, did his front line play really nicely and survived the fight. And that's
absolutely. If you took a closer look at those team fights at the end, what happened was the front line of AOL, Jarvan and Cho'Gath, Jarvan building full tank, of course, with that Cinderhulk, were able to survive the Twitch and Orianna longer than the Volibear and Trundle were able to survive the Kog'Maw Lulu.
The damage taken 39 for J4, which will be slightly less than the Trundle, but will be more than the Volibear. So despite Volibear being that frontline engage, team fight-wise could not seem to have the pressure he was looking for during those fights. The last fight in particular, it was really wedged into a nice tight area, which is where, you know, Twitch and company happen to be pretty strong. But that's also where Cho'Gath is very good too, because you could get those knockups into play. Certainly damage-wise, he took a lot of it, but he could not seem to dish out as much as he was looking for. We take a look on the vision score and Ward's place for the final thing we'll check. Vision score by Lulu, 89. Sushi here, getting back to his statistical average of being ahead of his supporting opponent. He's got it again here, folks. Very solid job there. We'll take a look at the Ward's play shortly afterward. J4 with a mere 7 Wards placed, but had a vision score of 41 out of those 7 Wards. So
definitely clearing a lot of wards.
Let's see. 35, 41, 42. So that's 6 times the amount of the ones he placed. That's about 6 times. That's crazy. That's a big number.
It is quite crazy.
Yeah. For the fact that he only placed 7 of them, that's pretty crazy. Let's see if he'll play some more, or maybe get even a bigger vision score by the end of the game.
For sure.
And
I do believe we are going to be moving into the second match in a moment, so I have to check in with the AOL squad. So for now, I bid you adieu, and I'll see you after picking bands of match 2.
Right, you are, and I will go ahead and get the matchup lobby and going soon enough. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Love the big audience we've got so far. Love all of you. Hope you guys can drop a follow. Much appreciated if you do. We will continue with our regularly scheduled program in a very brief moment, and you'll be seeing the game coming up in a brief moment. See you guys soon enough. Thanks for watching, everybody.